So when doing your makeup, a primer is extremely important. It's going to just make your foundation and everything sit better on your skin. Now, there are so many different primers that do so many different things. There are ones that mattify. There are ones that illuminate. There are ones that fill in pores and fine lines. There are just moisturizing ones. So there is whatever is best for your skin type, go for it. If you have a lot of large pores, you can put a pore filler here, but if you're dry here, put an illuminating primer or a moisturizing primer. You don't have to just use one primer, and that's a lot of things. And what people seem to forget is that you don't just have to use one primer. You can spot prime pretty much. So for me, I kind of have a normal semi-dry skin, but I don't really have big pores or anything like that. A great primer for me is the Becca Backlight priming filter. It just works for my skin type. It's one of my favorites. So I put this all around my face. Now, you see that my eyes are done first. The reason why I do my eye makeup and my brows first is because if I need to clean up my brows, it's easy to do. If I mess up my eye look or there's a lot of fallout, which is when you're packing something onto your eye, or even just shadows that are extremely pigmented but they're powdery, it'll fall onto your face. And while sometimes it's easy to get off, sometimes it's not. So just to play it safe, I do my eye makeup first. So now that that is pretty much synced into the skin, you're going to go in with foundation. Now, there are many different companies, many different foundations. Now, you need to find a foundation that's best for your skin type. Not one foundation is going to be good for another person. It all depends upon your skin type. So if you have oily skin, I say going for more a mattifying foundation. Or if you have really dry skin, sometimes a very glowy foundation works best for you. Or dewy, excuse me. I like a satin and natural finish on my skin type because it just makes your skin look more alive. For me, because I don't have oil, so I don't need the mattifying portion of it, because if I do that, it tends to dry my skin out and make it look really tight, and it doesn't look well. So just an all-around great foundation for me is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus, because I feel like it works with most skin types. I use this on a lot of my bridal clients. If you watched my favorites video, I talked about it, but I wish it had a pump. I don't like this spatula thing, but it is what it is. So I'm just gonna paint this all on my face. And I like going in with a light layer first because it's easier to apply more rather than trying to take some off. And you can apply foundation with a brush or a sponge, or if you really want to use your fingers, you can use your fingers. It's completely a preference up to you. Now, a lot of people wonder for freckles. Like, for me, for instance, I love my freckles. I don't like covering them up. So usually once I have everything like blended to the way I want, I'll just lightly go over where my freckles are on my nose. That way you can still see them shining, peeking through, and they still look great. And you always want to blend down your neck, so that way everything blends through. And I'm just going for like a medium coverage today, so this is good. This is enough foundation for me. Next, we're going to move on to concealer. So you can use concealer just to conceal, or I like to highlight with it. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit here I was like, oh, the triangles, the triangles. You do not need the triangles. Here. Here. Now to set your foundation, that way it's not gonna slip and move around, you can use a loose powder or a compact powder. Truthfully, I like, how do I explain this? If I need something to last all day, I will bake, which is putting an excess amount of powder onto your areas that you concealed and letting it sit there for about 5 or 10 minutes, because the heat of your skin is going to really sink it in, and then you brush it off. And when I brush it off, I just spread it so it goes all along my face, so I don't have to use any more powder. But I am just going to go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Finishing Powder, and using a pointed dome brush, I'm going to really set this underneath my eyes, because I love how smooth of a finish it makes my eyes look. You can get this powder on Beautylish, which is an app for iPhones, and probably Android, I'm assuming. I just have an iPhone, that's how I know. So I use that, and I set anywhere that I had the concealer. Then, just because I know this foundation will slide a little bit, I'm just going to take a round fluffy brush, like a round big brush, and just go over the rest of my face. Alright, so this completes how to do your base, which is priming, foundation, concealer, and setting that. And hope you guys like it. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. See ya.